What a phenomenal morning following these lions. I mean, starting off with having them on a carcass feeding, just with a number of the lionesses and the mist all coming off of them. It was just incredible because it was a pretty crisp, fresh morning this morning, and having them fighting over the carcass. Some of that would be steam from the body heat of this warthog carcass that I believe they must have caught this morning. All the other steam is from their breaths. It was a pretty intense affair as lions are feeding on a carcass, and all the exhalation of them and that steam or the mist is going to just add to a bit of the drama of the scene. One of the other lionesses had left, and she was presumably going to get the cubs, and it wasn't too long before she arrived with 9 cubs. And then you watch them moving around and trying to feed. Although the parents or the mothers were pretty protective over their pieces of the carcass, they didn't want to share with the cubs, so they were bouncing from one female to the other, just trying to see where they could get some scraps from it. But then, after a while, the females got up and started moving because the Nzanga male arrived. And with him arriving, the females that had pieces of the carcass left got up and were heading for the hills because they know that the male's just going to come in and steal that carcass, and they don't want to get into any unnecessary conflict. The cubs were all then trying to nurse from the females, whilst the one female was feeding on the remains of her piece of the carcass, not letting any of the cubs come anywhere near her. And then the other females, you can see they've got pretty swollen mammary glands or teats. They weren't letting the cubs nurse either, and it was pretty comical because as soon as one of the mothers would lie down, all the cubs would come in and try and feed or nurse from her. She would get frustrated, roll over, and then just try and fend off these cubs. And it was pretty relentless from these little feisty cubs because they weren't giving up, and as soon as there was a teat available, they would all try and latch on, and then you've got all of them piling in there. So a bit of a bun fight in there, but it was awesome nonetheless for us to watch. It wasn't too long after that before the lioness then dropped the piece of the carcass, and all of the cubs were then piling in, just trying to feed and get their share before it was all done. So that was pretty entertaining, watching the aggressiveness already at such a young age from these little cubs. As they're all just trying to tuck in before the remains of the carcass were finished, and getting so feisty, lashing out at each other. The growling and the noise was intense from some pretty small cubs, and it just shows you the life of a lion starts off tough from very young. They've all got to stand up for themselves around the carcass with all their siblings. So it was an awesome morning, and strategically we managed to place a GoPro in a pretty awesome spot. It was a bit of a gamble because they could have walked absolutely anywhere given there was a clearing. Hey, don't bite that. So eventually, after a long walk through some of the pretty epic clearings here, they've now settled down in the shade and look as though they're going to be resting here for a while. The two females seemed pretty determined to get away from where they were, and they kept stopping, looking around, scanning. Obviously, as they're moving cubs, it's pretty risky and dangerous. But with them all settling down now, doesn't look like too much more is going to happen. But if you're enjoying these virtual safaris, give this video a like, drop a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more of these weekly adventures. And thanks for watching this virtual safari. But we'll see you all again next week, and have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Bye for now.